And here she comes. It's Sandy, the rust bucket.
So yeah, that's me, I'm Chris. Nice to have you on the channel. Yeah, this is my project car that I've had for 3 years that's still in the process of being built up, and this video is a quick overview of the build so far. It's a mixture of me talking and also speaking to the camera. Okay, so this is when the welding process began. First thing was to rip all of the old sills out, what was left of them, and we found straight away that all of the inner sills were destroyed, rotten to the core, so a lot of it needed to be cut out and re-welded in. Used a lot of cardboard templates to mock up designs, and basically had to weld both sides from front to back. Health and safety was paramount throughout, as you shall see in the next clip of some hay and some sheep. Obviously, they are never, prone to setting on fire from sparks from welding at all. We always thought with safety in mind at all times, as you can tell from the hay that is in this shot as well. And I highly recommend you don't do that, but needs must. Yeah, so as you can see here, everything was taking shape. It was very much more solid from the templates that were put together. At this point, it was in mock-up phase, just test fitting, and there was undercoat sprayed on and weld-through primer and bonder primer used throughout, so that the steel was completely protected. But yeah, this took about, I would say, 3 months to complete, after which it was time to move on to more metal working on the front and rear arches. And as you can see from these great big enormous holes that are in the chassis rail, that was an essential job that definitely needed doing sooner rather than later. You can also see a big hole behind that. That's leading into the boot of the car there, because we're looking at the rear, and there's the bump stop. Yeah, so all of this area here required a severe amount of work. It's extremely invasive. And cut away lots of the car, but nonetheless it was required. And there's the finished product. That's with some more bonder primer on in the lower part of the sill and more weld-through primer.
A couple of folks asking about how progress is going, and it looks a bit shabby, but yeah, in effect, just got the quarter panel in. Had to make that with a bead roller. Still got to get this a bit of a door skin on. It looks rough, but all of the major structural work's done at the minute, pretty much. I've just got to get the floor section in there, and the outer wing, which I've already made, which is there. That just needs chucking on the outer edge here. Yeah, that's got to go on there. And then, yeah. Right now, I've just got, where is it? Made this in a trim piece, not trim piece, it's in a panel for the outer wing attached to, so that goes in there somewhere, like so. It needs cleaning up. I made it a few months ago actually, and then I'll be with this one. Oh, that's about it. Crap everywhere as always. I'm not the neatest worker, but then I don't care. Yeah, so I've progressed a bit here now. Put this final quarter bit in at the back. I've also spent most of the day getting the inner panel, which is that one there. So this thing here, it's not very good lighting under here, unfortunately, but as you can see, I've still got to spot weld this in over here, but that meets that quite nicely, and I tried to mimic these on this with a step die on the bead roller. So yeah, that's all welded in at the top up here. And then I'm going to have to try and figure out a way to knock these up and get them welded in, and just see how I do. If not, I'll have to seam weld across there as well anyway, probably, just to make it nice and solid. Yeah, that's been today's Sorry, getting old. But yeah, so this one was made with the bead roller, making this ridge, because to get this entire panel, that's what you have to buy, and it's like 700 quid, whereas I paid 70 quid for a bead roller and just made this out of some sheet metal, so that's a lot cheaper. And the same job with this. Put this in. That's just tacked on at the minute. And then what I'll do is come back and cut through that and make it flush. Whereas at the minute it's just tacked on. So that it offers up right. There's obviously odds and sods here and there, like that bit there. I'm going to have to work out what to do there. This is just where I screwed up on the cutting. And this bit of panel here, I'll just have to probably lap something over and fill in that gap. But it's, at the end of the day, it's been done by me, isn't it? I'm no pro. What Chris did. And there's a door in. Hey! Result. So yeah. Like a patchwork quilt at the minute. Things have to get ugly before they can get better and pretty. Here we go.
Yeah, so also that little trim bit that you can see now on the rear arch at the front connecting to the door, that was actually a kind of replacement panel, but it was off the wrong car, so I had to trim it to fit. And that's kind of the nature of when you're working on cars that don't have readily available panels. You are making it up as you go along, and okay, a professional would be like, oh, that's terrible, you know, you've got to get all the matching existing panels, or you need to get a professional to do it. Well, sorry, you don't, especially if it's a car that's for you. I'm not creating a perfect restoration here. I'm creating a car that is solid and looks the way I want it to look, and if that means that I have to make the panels on a budget using budget equipment that I found off of Facebook, then I'm going to do it. I'm still happy with the end result right now. Now that the underneath at this point had been sanded back, rust treated and reversed, and then had Bonder primer put on it, this is some really strong black paint that I got from a guy for 20 quid for a gallon, and it was it's used for spraying on buildings, like weatherproofing buildings, so it's really strong stuff. And then that's going to be schultzed in the end anyway, so that or wax oiled, so that it's super strong. Okay, so at this point the rear of the car is pretty much all welded in and good to go. So it was time to turn my attention to the front of the car and look at welding the front arches in. And thankfully, this is where having online forums such as the ones that I'm involved with on Facebook come into their own, because a fantastic group of people on there were able to recommend to me that Ford Transit van panels, the original Mark 1, its rear arches are almost an exact match to the front arches of a Humber Sceptre. And so in this next clip, you'll see what they look like. And it's incredible how well they fit.
Got it tech screwed into where I like. I'm going to take it off and put in another inner arch. Alright, so here we are. This side welded in. And despite a load of measuring and back and forth, me making loads of half-hearted efforts to try and figure out the mathematics, I've decided I'm just going to weld in the other side anyway. I've already got the inner arch ready to go here, just got to put some tiger seal on there so that I can put this effort in. And I'm also trying to kill two birds with one stone here, because I've got this other little patch panel which is all prepped, which is also going to get some seal on there, and that is going to go in here, because down here we've got a little patch there that needs filling. So all in all, she's coming along, but as is always the case, there's always a million things. And look at this lovely organised workbench. Yep. Well, you know, found it, tiger seal in there on that thing. Alright, so having sprayed this with weld through primer, which is why it's got this satin black finish, I've then scribed this line all the way around there. That line indicates to me where I can put the tiger seal. So from there I know I'm getting a good seal, and then after which I can cut out the remaining part of the arch, in theory. And I've just been checking, I'll be cutting along this line here, getting rid of this old material there, and I've got access to pull it out from there. So that is the plan. There's the other side, all burned in for now, just tacked in place. Get that finished off, planished, flattened. It's both sides now. Right, here it is, welded in. As you can see, it's terrible because I did it. And, you know, just to clarify, this is not educational. I'm a freaking musician. So, you know, but I do like hot rods, and that's what this thing's going to be. And I do like vintage cars, so I'm having a go. I'm enjoying it. It's just primer that's over the top of all of this, just to protect the metal. But yeah, starting to look a little more car-y now.
So eagle-eyed viewers amongst you will notice a continuity error here, and that is that the wheels aren't on this scene, even though in the previous scene they were on. That's because at the time that I was just talking about the front arches and getting them welded in, I was in between that and rebuilding the rear suspension. And just for the continuity's sake of the video, I didn't want to be diving into too many topics at once. So having covered the front arches using the transit van panels, which looked awesome, we've now moved on to the rebuilding of the rear suspension and putting the wheels on. But yes, that wasn't happening episodically. This was all kind of happening at the same time. So now that I've explained that, you can kind of see where we're going with this. The rear axle's been rebuilt and refurbished, and at this point now, the front subframe currently still isn't fully in. So, and well, the hubs haven't been built up at this point. But yeah, so you will see these continuity errors, but that is genuinely what it's like when working on an old car. So at this point, I finally did a full spray of primer on one side of the car, which sounds weird. You'd imagine I'd do both, but due to the car being hard over in one side of the garage, it was really hard to find the room to do that other side. So the car had to be taken out and then spun around and then resprayed to do both sides. Again, that's just life. That's what it's like when you're working on a car DIY style. There is no big fancy shop. There is no the luxury of a perfect spray booth that's nice and big to put everything in. This is just how it is. What I'm commenting on there is those are 15-inch wheels that I'd bought off of Facebook again, and ultimately I've not bothered using them, but I was experimenting with different wheel sizes and widths to see what the car can handle. Now, in theory, you could put something like that on, but it would probably likely need spacers, and to be honest, they're just not the right shape for the car. So I'm glad that I tried it, but ultimately it made it look like some sort of old-fashioned Eastern Bloc taxi cab when you put those wheels on it, so I wasn't a fan. I opted instead to just stick with the original Steelies for now, and I think if I upgrade to anything, it's likely to be the Lotus Cortina Smoothie wheels, which look absolutely brilliant on this car.
Yeah, so as you can see, I've got a bit more filler on here and just flattening it down, but overall, bodywork's looking pretty straight, so I don't think it'll be too long now until we can shoot the base. Oh, fuck. Or not. Yeah, so the truth is, I still haven't done this other side. Been bodyworking the other side, but I haven't actually got around to doing this side yet. So all the filler work is going to need to be done from the front to the back. Started prepping this door, just got it in a coat of primer. It's fairly straight. And then this one I've just been blasting the rust off the door, and then I'll be putting some primer on this. And overall, it'll start to look similar to the other side. My gamble is I think that this side is going to be hopefully easier, and I think it's straighter because the other side looks like it had been in some sort of crash damage in the past, so there was a bit more waviness and uneven panel gaps and stuff. This side, I'm not 100% confident yet, but overall it does look to be straighter, so I'm hoping that this should be an easier time of it for the bodywork. Just like a couple of skim coats hopefully, and it'll be okay. But yeah, that's the lie that I've been selling to you guys for the last few months, is I've just been working on one side of the car and not the other. So this side's looking better. Doesn't look brilliant right now, but it's certainly straighter when you put a layer of bodywork, a layer of paint over it. The other side looks shit, but that's how it goes. Just had the help of the dear dad helping out with just getting these lined up for the door. We'll be fitting this, and then some drastic surgery has got to be done on this door later on because the jamb is way too tight across here, so that needs to be sorted out. At the minute, just flattening down these welds and then putting some fiberglass on so that the butchery can continue, but at least it's solid. None of that's moving, so yeah, let's get this all finished up.
Now, you know that old saying, shoulda, woulda, coulda. That really applies to this build. There is so much where I could have done time-lapse and it got so much more footage, and the honest answer is I wasn't confident enough. I was actually quite anxious about the idea of filming me at work, even though it's time-lapse. So this was one of the first time-lapse videos that I did, and I'm afraid to say that I'd chickened out of filming any of the painting of the car. It was just there was so much going on, and I was so stressed out because I've never spray painted a car before. So this was a lot of that was missed, but you will see the end result of the painting after all of this prep work. So that is to come. So hang on to your seats.
The car, zoom out, there we go. So this is pretty much the last panel that needs doing. I'm just going to show you what the state of this is at the back. So where everything else has been done, all down there you can see painted and prepped. This last section here hasn't been done because when the rotisserie was on, you couldn't get access to this bit. So now I can deal with it. Basically got this bit here and this rear quarter that needs plating in, and that leads onto the chassis rail there, which also is where the bumper fits on. And it's the same deal on the other side. See where I've finished that plate there, and then it's all gone in here, so I'll be doing more just to sort this out. And I'm thinking the first thing to do is basically take this down to metal again and see what state it's in. And this dent here, I'm going to see if I can pull it out a little bit, because if I can pull that out, then I won't have to make the entire panel. Hopefully I can just sort these corners out and then we're away. But at the minute I need to know if I can fix that bit.
And of course, that was the famous last words that I said in that previous part of the video. I wound up having to make the entire panel. But nonetheless, it was still a great learning curve. There was loads of old fiberglass and some filler in this that was hiding a few sins, so therefore it was just easier to make a replacement panel. Again, more time-lapse footage. It's not the best filmed time-lapse footage, but I wish I'd got so much more of this.
Got a mixture of steel here on the side that wasn't damaged, but I decided to cut out because I'm clever. And then filler on this side, the side I didn't decide to cut out because it's rotten. So, yeah. And then in the middle here, this is a big crevice that needs to come out. So that's first job, is get that straight. And the way we're going to do that is by welding a piece of bar onto it and then seeing if I can bash the dent out in reverse. Sounds weird, but I'll show you.
And as I was just saying, this wound up being a futile attempt at trying to pull out a dent in an already destroyed panel. I should have known better, but I think I was just still operating on wishful thinking at this point. Nonetheless, time-lapse footage. Oh, back end is now welded in, plus I've put the first coat of fiberglass over the welds after flattening them down, and that's starting to look a lot better. So when the weather improves, there should be some filler and paint thrown over that. And these little bits of filler here all represent the last of the metalwork. Apart from, oh yeah, I've got to just get some, I've got to flatten this shit down here, sorry, flatten this down here and finish welding that up, and then put more fiberglass on there. Leaving me, this is why the light's so poor on that part, with just this one bit, which is this final front quarter. Can you see that there? Down here. So that there is this last little bit. So this here is the last little bit that needs welding in. We've got this hole here, it's crash damaged. Got a bit under there. So I'm just going to cut that out and push a plate up to it. See what we've got. Other than that, I think we're there. I'll give you another update. It's just gone past winter, so I've started doing body work again, and the car is looking like this. So, rear quarter, just finishing off some of the fill work here. I forgot to sand down. This looks about 15 different stages of primer and colour, but it's actually getting fairly straight now. As we go down here, still see all the 80 grit scratch marks there, so that's got to all be sanded out. Same over here. And then this side here is pretty good without needing to do much. Just need to zap in these holes here, just final bit of welding, spot weld those. Fill them all in, and then this tiny little bit of mist here just needs doing. Other than that, I think she's alright. Been filling this back quarter in. It's a bit all over the place at the minute, but it's trying to find the lines more than anything. And yeah, so the plan is to get this thing completely done on the filler side, or as close as I can get, and then try and get a full full single coat of primer over it, high build, finally, so I can see the thing as one colour. And then we might actually get to see what this car looks like as a single colour. That'd be quite nice, wouldn't it? Well, I'll get to it. So we're getting near the end of the video now. Unfortunately, the filming of the paintwork, as I said before, was next to none. In fact, it's more really just photographs. And the honest reason why is because I've been working on this car at my parents' house. That means all of my free time away from my wife and kid was spent at the time working on this car, because body work is relentless. It takes ages. And so by the time the car was getting ready for paint, there was just no time to think about filming. It was just all go to get the thing done. My wife was becoming a car widow for a couple of months. And, you know, all is well now, but it was intense trying to get this part finished. So, yeah, I mean, there's no way around it. I can't afford at this point to work on a car at my house because there's no garage, there's no cover, so I was doing it at the parents' house, which I'm sure is going to be the case for a lot of younger guys out there that want to work on a project car. But this is the part, and that's the finished result. This is what you get for all that work. is to finally see it as one colour in the primer. So I hope that that was worth the wait to see it get to this stage. I was super proud of the fact that it looked pretty damn straight after it was all bodyworked in. I'm sorry that I didn't get as much footage of that process as I should have done, but again, it's just life, real life and reality, and trying to fit filming in when you're not even sure what you're doing yourself can be pretty hard. So I'll leave you now with the last little conclusion part, which is some photographs of what the car looked like as it was getting sprayed, and then there's a little conclusion video that I've got just to finish out this episode. And I really hope that you've enjoyed watching the last 3 years of me building this car. So here we are on the final chapter of the build so far, and this is the painting stage. So as you can see here, I had to mask off the entire car so that I could paint the white custom stripe and roof, to then finally finish with this, the beautiful tropical turquoise. So these colours are based or straight out of the catalogue for the 1957 Chevrolet Bel Air, which is tropical turquoise and India ivory. And I just think it looks absolutely stunning in these colours. I was really pleased with the end result. I think it complements the car well. I think the custom stripe that I added, although not original and not stock, it seems to just suit the car really nicely, and I can't wait to add all of the additional chrome trim strips and all of the additional shiny bits at the front, which I've got planned. As for this video, it's very close to the end. I hope that you've enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe and follow me. I'm hoping to continue putting videos out regarding this build and many other builds to come at the house. So stay tuned, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Yeah, so the next part of this project is getting the engine rebuilt, which is not going to be cheap. So we're getting into the more expensive part of the build now, where this has just been time and learning for a couple of years. And okay, the paint wasn't cheap either, but it was I did it in a budget friendly way as best I could. The engine, well, there's no escaping it. You've just got to pay the money, haven't you, to get the right parts and get the machining done. So stay tuned for that.